And we can speak to Glenda now from her home in South London. Good morning to you and congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed.
What a moment, all these years on from, well, winning a BAFTA the first time round back in the 1970s.
Was it really? Oh, gosh.
and then a curious one as well with the whole business of it being remote.
It was one of the most bizarre experiences of my life. I mean, it was just so curious. It was in some ways very frustrating because there I was talking to marvellous actresses who I've not had the privilege to work with yet. But, you know, at long distance. So I hope at some point we'll be able to meet and actually touch each other in the nicest way.
And how did it work then in a practical sense? Did you have to be sent some link to click on a laptop and then stare into it?
Absolutely, yes, as I'm doing with you now, but with long pauses in between and long waits. It was very, very strange.
I suppose as well, one of the joys of watching like Oscar ceremonies or BAFTA ceremonies or Emmy Awards or anything is you get to see the faces while ahead of the announcement. So you had to do that kind of face, Glenda Jackson, you know, that anticipatory face. And did you rehearse the face that if perhaps you hadn't won, you know, to smile and be cheerful for everyone else? Are you doing it now?
What do you mean, did I rehearse? What are you talking about? I mean, you know, you sat there and then your name is announced and yes, it's always so amazing, surprising, very nice.
You know, it's interesting because you returned to acting. You gave up acting in the 1990s, and then went into politics. You were a Labour MP for Hampstead and Highgate, retired in 2015. I'm saying all of this so that people will be coming to your acting new, fresh. They won't know the history of your acting. What brought you back to the world of entertainment?
The opportunity, actually. I hadn't thought anyone would ask to work again in acting, but it was the BBC via radio, and then I got a chance to work at the Old Vic, and it just went on from there. I remember saying to one of my friends when we were going to rehearse for the first time in the Old Vic, I don't know whether I remember how to do this. And she said, oh, for heaven's sake, it's like riding a bike, you never forget. And in a curious way, she was absolutely right.
And what was the starkest difference, I suppose, the thing that wasn't different that may have surprised you?
There wasn't. I mean, actually, the thing that was most remarkable was the way everybody else behaved as though I'd been doing it yesterday. Do you know what I mean? That sense of a group coming together to work is so powerful in the theatre and such a tangible source of energy. And that's what stays the same, which is great, which is why it's so hard for everybody now that there are no theatres open. You know, that sense of being able to work together for an audience is gone, but please, God, let it come back.
Glenda, let's talk about Elizabeth is Missing and your character battling Alzheimer's disease, a story that will resonate for so many families, trying to juggle the realities of people with a fading memory, where a character, where a person, while still there and still alive, can slowly ebb away.
Absolutely. And one of the remarkable things when the film was first shown was the number of people who came up to me, you know, just by chance in the street, in the supermarket, wherever, and related directly with me their own personal experience of these terrible, terrible illnesses. And that aspect, you know, they are terrible diseases for the sufferers, but they are cataclysmic in many instances for their families because, you know, you can go in to see a parent and that parent doesn't recognize you. And we as a society have to take this on board. I mean, the basis for all this is that we are living longer. Put COVID to one side for this, but we are living longer. And these diseases are out there and we are all, as we grow older, vulnerable. And we, as a society, have to take it on board that we will come together, structure ourselves and the care that is necessary as a societal need. I mean, I'm quite happy to see that social care, because of COVID, is going up the political ladder. Let's hope that they can keep on going upwards, but with the focus of these two illnesses.
Glenda, how has lockdown been for you? Because I think so many people, I mean, we've been talking about people who have been shielding and who are nervous about going out. We've been talking about the restrictions that have changed in various parts of the country. It's always interesting hearing from people perhaps who you admire or, you know, you feel are in a different world or more privileged world, and how actually this is a bit of a leveller for everyone.
Well, I'm particularly lucky because I live in the basement of our house. The rest of my family live above me. I'm on the garden. They've been looking after me. I think the first time I went outside the front door was 2 weeks ago when the hairdressers opened in my local village, and I went and had my hair cut. That was such a relief. I can't tell you what it was like.
A relief tinged with a sense of nervousness, or were you just glad to sort of burst out the door and get down the street?
Not really, because, I mean, you weren't allowed in to the hairdressers if you didn't have a mask on, and they were all masked. And it was a nice day, and people were observing the distance on the pavements, you know, so no, it was fine.
I've got to ask, when you were asked about how you were going to celebrate yesterday evening, it was with a glass of wine and a cigarette. Did you just stick to the one glass of wine?
I did indeed.
Ah, my goodness, you are a woman of...
About the cigarette, though, have you?
Well, you know, this is the BBC, Glenda, so I do have to be slightly careful.
There you go.
Pardon?
You missed an opportunity there.
I did. But you know what? I saved your blushes and mine, I think. Glenda Jackson, firstly, I will say congratulations. I hope you enjoyed yourself to the full and continue to keep celebrating as well. And thank you for your time with us this morning. Do take care of yourself.
Thank you, and take care.
What a wonderful conversation. And being schooled in how to ask questions by Glenda Jackson.
Yes, I'll take it. Headlines are coming up.